What's going on, traders? Hope you all had a great Tuesday. It is July 25th here, and we'll be looking ahead to the 26th tomorrow, Wednesday. Big day in the markets. The Fed comes out, FOMC rate decision, and that comes out at 2 o'clock. And of course, Powell speaks at 2:30. So we'll be going over how I like to trade FOMC, as well as a few levels we can take a look at. Overall, really, we haven't moved too much, so a lot of the levels are going to be staying the same, but really the thesis behind how I like to trade FOMC is really going to be what matters. We'll just use these levels as potential confluence. All right, and before we get into it, reminder that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and in no way should be construed as financial advice. So we're going to be looking, of course, here at the macro. The daily chart markets were up about 0.27%, about $1.24. Final print coming in at 455.44, and really not too much to go over here on the daily. You can see here we pushed up a bit higher. We had the lows here as we consolidated around this key level as we went over in the last video, and now we had the low, higher low, and a higher low here. Again, similar situation as towards the end of the day, we did see some selling come into the market, but it was very light. Okay, so the one thing I wanted to point out about today's daily is, though we were seeing that momentum shift in the Momo here to the downside, but it turned a little green today. So nice fight from the Bulls coming back in, but of course Powell can put a wrench in that very easily. So one other thing that I wanted to mention is that I did take off a decent part of my swing trade. Very risky to hold into FOMC, but I did take out quite a bit of that and just holding a small position, as I do think a pullback is due, but with the major data, of course, all technical analysis really goes out the window. All right, so let's go over today about how we traded, what happened throughout the day, and what we can really look for into tomorrow. All right, let's come into our chart here, and we were talking about this yesterday, this nice consolidation around 452, and then we pushed up higher, and that trend has continued today to the upper part of the range. And actually, let me just switch this over to 30-minute chart just for a few more candles. Okay. And, we were talking about the multiple ways you could play the long. We did have an opportunity right at the open to play the long, still holding here in this bottom part of the range. And we did push up higher. And of course, that key level we were looking at all week was really that 455, 454.83. And today we were able to breach that level. And you can see the strong buy reaction as we got over that trigger. And as you can see, we did come into the top 25% quadrant and briefly broke out of the balance before selling off there at the end of the day. Microsoft earnings and Google earnings, of course, reported. Google was up a decent amount, I think about 6%, 6.5%. Microsoft was down about 2%. So kind of, canceled each other out. As you can see, the market was up and down and really didn't do much in the after hours with those earnings reports. So we'll see. Tomorrow we're likely to see some hesitation into the markets, into the decision until 2. So if you feel like sleeping in, a nice day to do that. I'll see about potentially getting one early quick morning trade in and maybe going back to sleep and then coming back later in the day. But I really didn't do much today. I got about 90% on some calls. And I took futures overnight as I saw us consolidating in this area. Did get a little dip right below my entry, but it was fine. I took some off over in this area. I woke up, my alarm was at like 4 in the morning. I woke up, scaled a little bit, and then I went back to sleep. And then I just played this and scaled. I didn't get quite the high. I took everything pretty much off at this 456 area. I wasn't sure that we would see that follow through. I mean, it wasn't much. It was only about 75 cents, 45 cents up to the upper part of the range. But we were talking about that being the likely target for long. So nice job for the bulls. And for tomorrow, really, we're going to see if this if this 455 can hold. If this can hold, we'll still be looking for longs for possible moves back up into this range. I'm not so sure that we'll be able to really break out of it, but I mean, there's a small chance, as always, that we could. I mean, today pretty much was a trend day, although not very powerful. But we did get that sell just really late in the day. But most of the day was just smooth sailing all the way up. So that was nice to see. Nice, easy price action. Certainly following the plan worked out beautifully. Excuse me. For tomorrow, for Powell, the way I like to trade it is I don't do anything at 2 o'clock. I'll just wait for the first initial reaction, and then I wait for the sell. So usually, the market could go up and then sell back down, and then I'm just sitting on my hands until about 2:30, and whenever that happens, I initiate the position in the opposite way of the market, whichever way it's going. So usually the first move could be a inclination of where we're going, then we reverse, and then around 2:30 we go in the direction that the market was originally going on the first move. Or you can just say whatever, if the market's going down into 2:30, around 2:30, 2:35, we go long, we go calls. If the market's going up into 2:30, we go short, and we go puts. So that's really the way that I like to trade it. Of course, I do it with smaller size, because it is a high risk trade. Overall, tons of volatility usually comes into the market. If you're looking for potential areas to have confluence for the shorts, I'm looking at 457, 80, 75, 458 area, and then over that maybe 458, 50 to 458, 80. And if we're looking at the shorts, we'll see how much of a move we get in the markets. But of course, the bottom of the range looks interesting, as well as retesting this previous balance here down by 451, 452 area. But for me, the levels just give me an extra mode of confluence. However, really, wherever we are, I just still stick to my FOMC plan. So even if we were down here or up by 460, I still follow my plan of doing the opposite of wherever price is moving into when Powell gets on. So for me, I'll be sitting on my hands for that first 30 minutes and then waiting to see where we are, and then taking a position, small size, in the opposite direction. So yeah, I wanted to keep it short and sweet. Really no reason to go over too much more besides the fact that we've been trading in this general zone. So all the levels that we are looking at, we have been looking at, and all should be very familiar to everybody watching and keeping up to date with the daily plans. But at least for me, for the morning, I'll still be looking for longs as long as we're holding that 454, 80, 455 for the potential move back up into the upper part of the range. And if we break below, market's looking weak, I could be looking for the short back down into the lower part of the range. Just a quick in and out scalp, we'll see if I can get 35%, 30. I don't know if I'll even be playing 0 days, 20%. Then, like I said, maybe I'm just going to go back to bed and just wait, because likely to see just sideways trappy price action. Really not the type of market environment I want to be engaging, and I will just wait until FOMC at 2 o'clock Fed Powell speaks at 2:30. All right. I hope you guys had find this useful, and I wish you the best of luck tomorrow with the FOMC. Remember, just be cautious. Still, a lot of volatility. Anything can happen. So just be careful if you do decide to trade it. All right, guys. Take care, and we will see you in the next video.